Hello, yes, this is Danhausen here, and you are listening to Pro Wrestling for Life.
Welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling for Life, everyone. It's me, two-time WWE Hall of Famer, X-Pac. Joining me right now is my co-host, Nick Hausman. What's going on, Nick?
I'm doing great, Sean. We have a huge fun episode. This is episode 10, by the way. This is like it's one of those. I feel like we should have bought each other gifts or something like this, like a big anniversary type episode. We made a 10 episode, Sean.
This is a milestone? Call that a milestone?
I think we call them milestones. We got a milestone episode here today, and man, we're going to blow it out. We have one of the most popular pro wrestlers on the planet right now. You may have seen him doing the Conan O'Brien show. You may have seen him in Ring of Honor. He's very nice. He's very evil. Danhausen is going to be here today. We had over half an hour with him that we're going to bring for you here on the show later. And unlike a lot of other interviews that Danhausen does, this is one of the rare appearances where he does it without the makeup, and people are going to get to hear you talk to Donovan Danhausen, the man behind that makeup, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun conversation.
Yeah, it's great. And then after Danhausen, we are going to hear from Chris Van Vliet. He's going to jump on to talk with Sean about his time as X-Pac teaming with Kane over in WWE. And at the end of the show, we're going to come back. We have a very special guest, another big influencer from the world of pro wrestling who's going to be competing head-to-head in another game here against you, Sean, to close the show. So a lot to get to here. Very packed 10th episode of Pro Wrestling for Life. Yeah.
Huge episode, everyone. Huge
episode, everybody. And hey, real quick, before we get to the news, some housekeeping here. So it is the 10th episode. We want to give you guys more and more as the show progresses. So here's everything that we have new for you this week. I want you guys to know about. We're going to have, of course, a new watch along. That's up at the Patreon right now. If you're a kid level patron, you're going to get to see something special. Danhausen stuck around. He watched back a match he had with Mike Bennett from about last month over at New South Wrestling with Sean and I. So if you want to go watch Donovan Danhausen talk about the wrestler Danhausen in real time, go check out the Patreon. It's great. Also, over at the Patreon, if you subscribe to Kid Level, we're launching a Discord this week. Give you guys a chance for you to communicate with Sean and I 7 days a week. Let your thoughts be heard. We've got a newsletter going out now that you can sign up for as well. Pro Wrestling for Life. We're on Instagram now at Pro Rest for Life 1. We're going to have it without the 1 here pretty soon, but that's what it is for right now. And we're going to have new shirts over in the Pro Wrestling Tee store this week. So just a ton of growth that's going to happen here in the next 7 days, Sean. Ton of growth.
It sounds good, Nick.
All right, well, let's get
to it. Spit out a lot of information there.
I know I did. That's why I'm here, though. All right, none of this. No more. Let's get to it. News you can use. News that'll leave a bruise. AEW Double or Nothing was this past weekend. I was down there in Jacksonville in person covering it for Wrestling Inc. I got to participate in the post-show scrums as well. Sean, you were watching this thing from home, so let's talk about it, man. Yeah. What did you think about AEW's latest pay-per-view?
I enjoyed the hell out of the stuff that I saw.
Yeah.
So and I say that because I didn't see everything, Nick.
Sure.
I was kind of late. I was like a last minute order or subscriber for the pay-per-view, and I had a really hard time ordering it.
Yeah, you were telling me that. Yeah, how did you eventually wind up getting the actual pay-per-view? What happened?
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing: is I tried to order it. I tried to order it from Fight, and that's you had to only if you're overseas you could get it on Fight, right?
They're just international.
Yeah. So it was on Bleacher Report, but on my new TV on the Samsung, I couldn't get any Bleacher Report app or anything.
Okay.
For the TV, so I couldn't get it, man. And then so I put something on Twitter, and one of the talent actually gave me their login and let me watch it because somebody from AEW, and which I'm grateful for. But I wanted to pay for it. I was totally happy paying $60 or $20 or whatever the cost was, because I wanted to watch the show because they did a really good job of building it up.
What were you excited about going into the show? What had you hooked kind of going into Double or Nothing?
honestly, just to be honest, like the number one thing was that they were going to be wrestling in front of people, Nick.
Yeah.
Honestly. But, like, the stuff that I enjoyed, I really like, okay. One of the things that like got me interested was the Ogogo Cody Rhodes match.
Yeah.
Like the build up for that.
Why did that one grab you, Sean?
Well, it was just, like that was something that they were putting out there for everyone. So like that's one of the things that I saw, not even having to watch AEW on TNT.
Yeah.
Like, even if I was just scoping everything out on social media, like that was like right there for everyone,
Yeah.
And it was compelling, man. And Ogogo's like, he's a real compelling character, that guy.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a great look. I'm really glad to hear that's the one that grabbed you, because I interviewed Ogogo just like a couple days before the pay-per-view, and that's the one where he told me he went off on the American health system, right? And the cages stuff. And we've seen the like American versus the evil foreigner thing like so many times. The fact that the evil foreigner came in and like had all these criticisms of the United States, and there were a lot of Americans that were like, yeah, I kind of agree with this.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't work that good anymore. Like, so what I noticed, like from that match, was that the people weren't into that USA versus whoever else. Like, there was no USA chance or none of that shit.
No, and there were a lot of flags in the audience, but I agree. I think it was more just a Cody versus Ogogo.
Yeah.
All the national stuff kind of fell to the wayside, and they tried just tried to tell a match or tell a story with the match. I really think Ogogo's got a huge future, man. There's just something.
He does.
He does.
Yeah. And people go, oh, Cody buried. He beat him. He shouldn't have won. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm 50-50 on that. Like, Ogogo's, he's brand new still, right? Like, I mean, he's a really new to wrestling.
Yeah. And you talk about
he's going to be fine. He's still green. Like, I mean, he's going to be fine. Like, I mean, he was put in that match. Like, it might have been early for him to even be put in that match, to be honest with you. Like, I would have liked to see him built up more in other ways before he got to that with Cody.
And I noticed that Cody really slowed the match down a lot too. Like, there were a lot of just holds and stuff early. They weren't trying to go out there and run a cruiserweight match or anything like that. They just had a solid wrestling contest. And I think Ogogo, I think you're right, got a lot of shine just being in that spotlight.
Absolutely. I was at the tag match, with Mox. Having a huge brain fart here.
No, Moxley and Kingston took on the Bucks.
Moxley and Kingston. Duh. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was a hell of a match, man. Like, the one knock I saw people make was that it went too long. And it may or may not have, like, I don't know, it might have peaked a little bit, but it was a hell of a match, man. It was a great match.
Can you talk to me a little bit? I saw you praised how in good a shape Christian Cage is right now.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Yeah, I thought a lot of people thought he was going to win that match. It was a little surprising to me. They went with Jungle Boy. They seem to, they're taking a young talent and really pushing him hard right now.
No, it was a little surprising, but that's why it was good. Because okay, but that was the right thing to do. It was building Jungle Boy up.
How
it's
do you
not gonna hurt Christian?
Yeah, well, how do you feel about them bringing Christian in though? Because I mean, there was so much buzz around this guy coming out of that Rumble appearance, and I think I looked at a Christian win here as a chance to kind of give him something to do, like to have a path. I really don't know that they've still kind of figured out exactly how they want to, what they want to do with the guy quite yet. He's good at his role, but I don't really know exactly where we're going with Christian right now.
Yeah, I don't know either, but like that wasn't like him getting pinned in the middle, 1, 2, 3, or submitting. He got dumped over the top rope for Christ's sakes. Big deal.
That's fair. How about how'd you feel about Mark Henry showing up and signing with AEW?
That must have happened after the triple threat.
Oh, that's right, because you thought the show was over like at the
because at 4 hours, like I assume after the world title triple threat, I assumed the show was over and I went to bed.
Yeah.
Just being honest, bro.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say bro. Sorry, I don't mean to bro, but
okay.
But I'm sorry, I went to bed. And it's not like I didn't I didn't know like that, but I just thought I missed it somewhere. Like,
yeah, no. Once the triple threat was over, they introduced Mark Henry, and then they went and they closed the show with Stadium Stampede, which was the wild melee all over the stadium.
Yeah. So I totally missed that.
Oh, okay. See, and as that was a little weird to me too. That they close. I mean, I guess with Stadium Stampede, they had Guevara and the good guys all going over, so you wanted that reaction, I guess, to close the show. But that was a big triple threat match, man. That was a big moment for Orange Cassidy too. I really thought that they were going to let those guys close that show on Sunday night.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where they were coming from, because like conventional wisdom says like, you want to close it with, on a high note, and like let the babyface win, but not always. Like, I think that, and not downing them for the decision, but yeah, I would have had the triple threat close the show.
But yeah, back to Mark Henry. I know you didn't see it or anything, but you have to know now that Mark Henry's moved over to AEW. I mean, what do you think about all of him, Christian, Big Show, it's Matt Hardy. I mean, there's been this real kind of transition right now of guys from legendary talent from WWE over to AEW.
I don't know. The only thing I can just say is I'm happy for Mark Henry if he got a good deal for himself.
Yeah.
And if there's if he could pass something along, if he can help out, younger talent, if I'm all for I'm all for older guys being brought in if they're going to help, raise everyone else up.
Okay. And lastly here, I guess, before we throw to Danhausen, Sting, right? I mean, Sting came back, took off the shirt, was wrestling in his gear. What did you think of Sting's performance?
I liked it. I thought it was very well laid out. I thought it was a good match. It was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Are you surprised that Sting was able to hang at 62 the way he was with everybody in that ring?
No, I'm not at all. No, the thing is don't freaking don't even try buckle bombing him. Things like that. And he's not going to get hurt.
Yeah, fair. I mean, he was just moving great, man. I mean, Scorp went for that springboard cutter, and when Sting caught him and grabbed him into the Scorpion Death Drop, that moment.
That was a real nice moment. Yeah.
Dude, it was beautiful because of how fluid it was. That's where I was just like, this guy's moving. But the dive off of the stack of chips onto Ego and Scorp, man, dude, I'm sitting there live in that arena, right? Or the Daly's place. Yeah. And everything just kind of slowed down for a moment. You know that, like when you're in a real special wrestling moment there and you just know that this is different. That moment right there felt like that, I think, to everybody live and Daly's.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Hey, man, honestly, Stingers looked like he was in better shape for this and more prepared for this than he was his WrestleMania match with Triple H.
I agree with you. I had the same thought too, man.
He looked better. His body looked better. His hair,
yeah. Hey, and before I forget too, and we will get to Danhausen, Britt Baker, man. This was it. This was the year payoff after everything. Trying to get the women's division AEW kind of back on the tracks. Real quick, anything you want to say about Britt Baker taking the title here at Double or Nothing?
I enjoyed the match, and congratulations to her and also to Hikaru Shida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of hers. I'm a Hikaru Shida fan.
Yeah.
And also, I think her English is great.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. Yes. We don't want any Spanish commentary table.
Yeah, I just it's I noticed months ago listening to her cut promos in English, and it's impressive because you got your Kenny Omegas and a few other guys, but other than that, you got guys we don't learn that good of Japanese when we go over there.
Yeah.
You know, it's we just don't give a shit. I know, when I lived in Mexico for 4 years, hey man, I could speak Spanish to get by, but I tried to do an in-ring promo one time and I fell flat on my face. People laughed at me because I just couldn't do it. And I could speak in the back in the dressing room. I could have conversation just fine, but to be able to do that, she does, you know, and it's not her first language. I think it's impressive. And like for anyone to make fun of it is, come on.
Yeah, well, and I would be remiss here, actually. I know I keep trying to move on, but the WWE New Japan news was huge this week just because New Japan has been working with AEW and Impact and Ring of Honor, and now WWE has entered that conversation here. Do you have any thoughts on WWE possibly working with New Japan? I mean, what do you think it would be in their best interest to get that relationship back and going again?
I don't know.
Why?
I just don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Man, a lot of people are up in arms over the whole thought of it. And WWE New Japan relationship.
I
understand why.
Are you talking fan wise or like internally? People are up in arms.
Fan wise.
Really? I don't know, man. You think so?
I don't know what like comments you've been reading.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I'm pretty warm to the idea. I see Daniel.
You might be, but man, I've seen like overwhelming negative comments when it comes to that.
So you just say stay away. It doesn't help either.
I don't say that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I've seen a lot of talk, and a lot of it's not good. But like I understand New Japan. I understand WWE. It's smart of them to try to get that relationship going. And good for New Japan for being in that position, you know? So let's just see what happens, man. I'm not going to say, oh, they shouldn't do that, or, you know, let's see who walks away with the New Japan prize, AEW or WWE. Hey, growing up, cereal is one of the best parts of being a kid, but I had to give it up because I realized it was full of sugar and junk that you really shouldn't eat, Nick.
Yeah, man. I know I've been trying to cut down on my carbs, my sugar, all that unhealthy food. And I realized I basically, after taking all that stuff out, I mean, there's nothing left to eat, Sean. I really can't eat anything anymore.
Right? I mean, I've been drinking protein shakes for years, but finally found a delicious way to get my protein before and after workouts, Nick.
Oh, yeah, Sean?
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
Are we talking about Magic Spoon up in here? Is that what we're talking about, man?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love Magic Spoon, man.
Dude.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%, man. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, and only 140 calories a serving. I am talking meal-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, GMO-free, the whole 9 yards. Sean, it's everything.
Yeah. And they have several flavors. They got the variety pack, right? You get the variety pack. It comes with cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. Hey, but you know what, Nick? I just found out, and it's not listed. They have a new flavor, wedding cake or birthday cake. I mean, right?
I have heard about the mythical birthday cake, and now that the great folks at Magic Spoon have re-upped their sponsorship with us, Sean, I'm going to hit their people up, and we're going to get that birthday.
I want some of that birthday cake Magic Spoon.
You got to be out of it, man, because now you went through all your boxes. Angela ate them all.
Yeah. She didn't eat them all. She left a little bit in each box for me.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Time for more.
So she could technically say she didn't eat it all. But
well, hey, Sean. Hey, if people want to go try Magic Spoon and enjoy it and be healthy like us, how can we help them out here today, man?
Well, go to magicspoon.com/PRO to grab a variety pack and try it today, Nick. And be sure to use our promo code PRO at checkout to save $5 off your order.
Oh, yeah, man. A Magic Spoon, I mean, they are so confident in this product. It is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they're going to refund your money. No questions asked. That's a heck of a deal. That's a guarantee right there.
Oh, yeah. And remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/PRO and use the promo code PRO to save $5 off, Nick.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much, Magic Spoon, for supporting and sponsoring Pro Wrestling for Life. We are Magic Spoon for life.
For life. Ooh. Oof. For life. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us. Blue Chew.
Yeah.
Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer lasting erections.
Dude, that is what it is all about. Staying stiff and fit. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost.
Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of erectile dysfunction. That's ED to the layperson.
Yes, it's nothing to be ashamed of because, this is an online prescription service. You don't have to go to the doctor. There's no weird conversations. There's no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Hey, what are you here for? Oh, I'm picking up my dick pills. Oh, great, cool. You don't need to have that conversation. And on top of that, it's going to ship right to your door in a discreet package. So again, your neighbors aren't like, hey, Phil's getting a box of dick pills. That's just not going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this process is simple, Nick. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of our licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, Nick.
Oh, yeah, by licensed medical professionals that work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. And if you don't like swallowing pills, no problem. Like we said, Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. I think I nailed those. Those are hard words.
Tadalafil, yeah, that's the one I use. I use the one that's the generic equivalent of Cialis.
Because again, Sean, you've had sex in ways where you've actually broken your dick and used this product because again,
it's prescribed. It's like doctors prescribe Cialis to help with broken dick.
I just like to bring up how you've actually broken your dick. Not everybody's, been through that before. And I think it's happened twice with you, right? Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways.
All right. Sorry.
So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information.
Yeah.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners, everyone. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code PRO at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code PRO to receive your first month free. And we thank bluechew.com for sponsoring this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now on the show, he's like a huge sensation right now in the independent world. Well, just in wrestling in general. It's hard to really distinguish like indie, like it's just all wrestling these days.
He's in Ring of Honor now. He's not an indie.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I know. But does that mean you don't do indies?
No, I do indies. I'm non-exclusive there. So I'm July, I'm trying to fill back up my schedule. So
hey, so ladies and gentlemen, Danhausen. Make some noise.
Thank you for having me.
And your first name is Donovan.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. How would you like me to address you, Mr. Hausen?
It totally up to you, Donovan, Danhausen.
All right. Yeah, because people don't know what to call me half the time either. So Hey, man, seriously though, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you letting us see behind the the mask or the makeup or whatever to see actual Donovan Danhausen.
It's just CGI.
Oh, okay.
CGI and voice changing technology.
Hey, man. So usually, like when I have people on the show, most of the time it's people I've known for years, so it ends up just being a conversation. Like, hey, man. So we're just like getting acquainted, and so forgive me if I ask you some questions you answer all the time, or that you've answered ad nauseum. Because for me personally, like when I do show, that's why I don't do a bunch of shows like podcasts anymore and stuff, because I'm just tired of answering the same shit over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Dude, hey, but like since I said that, let me ask you some questions you've answered a million times.
Well, that's okay because every audience is a whole new audience. So
that's just it. Maybe some people don't know. Like
I'm sure there's a lot of people who are listening right now who don't know who I am. So this is great.
But if they like wrestling, I think at the very least they know who you are and they've heard of you at this point.
I hope so, but I always like to look at it as it's always a new audience. So if I have to reintroduce myself, that's great.
I want to jump in real quick and just on that note, Sean, like I knew you before you were Danhausen, super famous, and you had all the like this all happened. I mean, it feels like you've been around in a name for a while now, but I mean, how many years has it been since you've been Danhausen now?
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like a long time. I think because of the pandemic, felt like it's still going on, so it still feels like such a long time. But I only really got going like as full on Danhausen, like goofy and all that. This incarnation of it, October. I would say somewhere in between July of 2019 and October is where it like started to blossom, and then October it just shot off because people booked me because I was the scary guy, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not going anywhere after this. So like I use those opportunities of getting booked like 4 times a week or whatever to kind of like propel myself and be like, I'm not going anywhere once October's over. This is staying.
Cool. So how long have you been doing this now, man?
Oh, since what is it? Like, I think 2013.
Okay.
So it's like 2013, but like that was with a lot of like stop and go. Like, oh no, I have to work at this job, so I can't take these bookings because that's paying and blah blah. And
like, what was Donovan McDonald? How did when you first started? Like, who were you? Were you Donovan Danhausen? Like,
yeah. So actually, really, I was the first show I ever did. They said that my name was too hard to pronounce and there's too many syllables for Donovan Danhausen.
Yeah.
So they renamed me Donovan Danger for the show.
Okay.
I was like, it's one less syllable, and that's horrible. Let's not do that.
Not so good.
Yeah, so that was that. But yeah, other than that, it's been Donovan Danhausen the whole time. To start as just a dude, like a guy with sometimes I'd have a beard, a tattooed beard guy is what I always say is like, but there's so many of those. I don't know. Like I liked Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, so I was trying to like as much as I could, like that's who I related to at the time. That's who I was watching.
Were you trying to present yourself kind of like them then? Was that the kind of look you had?
Yeah, it was just like kind of, but that's just how I'm just like a dude with a beard and tattoos. Yeah. So like that's just by nature what I kind of look like anyway. So I'd get grouped together with that, and you just kind of have to roll with it. And also I didn't feel comfortable being that guy because it's like I'm ass kicker guy.
Yeah. Like, so that's what you wanted to be, like that. You wanted to be the serious ass. Me too.
Yes.
When I first started.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people start that way because those are the cool guys. Like you're like, oh, that's it, and you're like, no. Once you start getting going, like I always relate it back to like Stone Cold. I'm like, yeah, he's like the quintessential like ass kicker guy, but also he's like one of the funniest guys that was on TV. Like he's on Raw playing a little guitar with a tiny cowboy hat on, like with Kurt Angle. Like I'm like, I always try to remember stuff like that. It's just like if you think of the most badass guy, it's Stone Cold. But also if you think of one of the funniest guys, it's Stone Cold. Like you have to know how to balance the two.
Hey, so like I was being a small guy, and I like you're not a very big guy yourself.
Oh,
like,
I'm a small guy.
For me, like it was really important that like I presented myself as serious ass kicker, like I was really proud of my training and all that, so man, I was really like, man, I wanted to wear gear, I wanted to have like, real gear, and just, I was really caught up in that. And so like, how long did it take you from the time you started, like as you're finding out, like how long did it take you to find Danhausen?
So I would say 2013 through I guess 2018, I was a dude. I was doing okay. Like I got to wrestle early on. I got to wrestle Johnny Gargano a couple of times, and that was great. From that, people saw it and they're like, oh, cool, we'll book you in Texas. And then they put me in a 4-way match with Ricochet. So that got me a little bit of buzz. I did well on those, but it's a thing of like, who cares? You're still just a dude. Like there's something like I could tell people wanted to like me, but there was nothing for them to like sink their teeth into because I was just a wrestler. Like, so, it's just kind of spinning the wheels for years and years and just trying to, get my name out there and do that. And then eventually I moved to Florida because I thought there was going to be a big wrestling scene there. There's really
sort of is.
Yeah, it's just I was like, oh, NXT is down there. Like there's probably tons of wrestling. It's like, that's kind of the same amount.
They just pay you less down there.
Yeah.
Tons of shows. They just don't pay anything.
So I was like, this isn't working out. I moved back to Michigan, which is where I'm originally from. And I was like, cool, that didn't work out. I'm going to like get rolling. I'm going to get better gear. I'm going to, try my best with this. And I was still just me as Donovan Danhausen. And I was wrestling weekly, which was great because I was getting my reps in, but also it wasn't great wrestling. So I was losing money. This is probably around 2018 or so, maybe late 2017. And I was just putting miles on my car. I was getting hurt wrestling because the matches weren't that great. I wasn't that great. And I was just like, this isn't fun. This sucks. I remember I got the turning point was I was in a match. I got kitchen sinked and dude kicked me in the throat. It was supposed to be like a chest kick, and he just kicked me straight across the throat. And I remember I usually am like pretty level-headed about everything, and I got actually like pissed off in that match. And I like rolled out of the ring. And I was like, this sucks. Like, I didn't go back to that after that. I got in my car and I left. I was like, I don't want to cause a scene. I don't want to do anything. But it was like one of the only times I've been genuinely like pissed off where I felt it was done on purpose almost. Because like, there's no way you go for a chest kick. You kick me straight in the throat, where I was like, cool, I might have to drive to the hospital or I'm driving home. I'm not sure yet. Because that's what it felt like. I was like, it was swollen. I could breathe.
It happened to me, man. It happened to me on an independent show up in that, like actually in that Michigan area.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name who did it, but like, I thought I was going to die. Like,
well,
I thought I was going to die, man.
You're just like, oh, what is it?
Everything gets all like swollen up and you can't breathe. And it's like, I'm like, get an ambulance. And they just looked at me like I was stupid. Like,
no, it's life or death.
People get hurt on wrestling shows.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. And that was kind of the turning point where I was like, wrestling isn't fun. I'm getting hurt. My car is getting miles on it. I'm losing money actively wrestling. I was like, maybe I could quit, which whatever, I'll just work. I was working at a hospital at the time as a nursing assistant. So I was doing 12-hour shifts or whatever. Yeah.
So you like know kind of like because you're like,
so I was like, I don't know how serious this could be. Like this could be very serious or it could be nothing and I'll be fine tomorrow. Luckily it was fine. But like at the time I was not having it. So I was like, I could quit and just, I guess, become a nurse, which is great for people who want to do that, but I didn't necessarily want to do that. So like, that's not my passion. So I drove home. I was like, well, I can try to do this whole, like, I like makeup thing. I like horror. That's what I grew up on with my dad was, he used to build haunted houses and do the makeup for haunted houses. He's really good at it.
What? I did not know that about you. I feel like I feel like I know a lot about you, but I didn't know that. This all makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, so I grew up with horror movies. Like, I was probably too young, but like also I got desensitized to it at a young age, so I was just used to it. But yeah, so that's where I was like, well, I can do this kind of horror movie thing where I can make fun vignettes and try to get myself over. Use Twitter and Instagram or whatever, YouTube. Because if I don't get myself over, like an independent company is not necessarily running storylines. And I'm not signed anywhere at the time. So I was like, well, I can try to get myself over. So I would film in my friend, which we still do today, is my friend Nick and David. It was in their basement at the time.
I was going to say, is that a basement you're using?
Yes. Yeah. It's like his old basement. It's very 70s style. So now we just use it in, tongue in cheek that it's like a crappy old scary basement, but we don't make it scary anymore. We have it dingy. So I filmed these vignettes with them and like base them off of horror movies and kind of mix and mash them. And it would take hours and hours. And then I'd have to wake up at 6 and go work for 12 hours and all that. And they did okay. They started to catch on a bit. And I was like, okay, there's something here. But also horror is niche and wrestling is niche. So that's just kind of keeping my audience still very small. And then I had wrestled Effie. And he was like, let's be weird. Let's do some weird stuff. He's like, have fun with it. So with the promos with those, I started kind of letting my actual personality out, which is a little bit goofier and sarcastic and lots of Simpsons.
So at this point, you have the makeup on now?
Yes. At this point, I'm full makeup, but it's probably 8 months or so of where I'm doing like straight up horror. Like I'm just evil. My character said I'm evil and I do weird things.
Can I ask real quick before we get past it with the makeup thing? Because this is an iconic thing now. Like the look that you've created, it's everywhere. What was the inspiration? Like what was the design? How did you come up?
Well, the first one I ever did was for Southern Underground Pro in Tennessee, where they're like, hey, it's a Halloween show, do whatever you want. And that's where I kind of tested it. I did They Live makeup. So I did like the blue with the little red spots, everything, the ghouls. And then I switched over to do this band Converge. They have an album, Jane Doe, which is like kind of like a scary looking woman. It's very ambiguous. And then I switched that over because I was like, this is other people's things. So I can't just use them all the time. Like it's fun, but I need my own thing. My wife was, she's a burlesque dancer and she was doing Theater Bazaar. And it's a whole Halloween weekend in Detroit. And I'd done Pazuzu from The Exorcist. There's like when he flashes on the screen for a second, just that creepy face. I had done that makeup and I just went, and that's how I went to this Halloween party. And I was like, oh, this one's kind of cool. And I was like, also, I can kind of morph this one into my own thing. Right. So that started off as just straight up me copying the Pazuzu makeup from The Exorcist. And then eventually I was like, well, if I change this and this and this and this, it kind of made it more cartoony and made it my own version of it. And now I just have my own version.
Wow.
Yeah, I like it though. And it's not real. It's not too busy. Like it's
so
perfect.
That was a problem that I had was when I first started doing it, I was adding like detail lines everywhere and like doing extra little spikes. And I was like, no. I was like, it needs to be clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like King Diamond, I don't know why it makes me think of King Diamond for some reason.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Because it's the black metal makeup. But that's what people were saying. I'm like, no. I was like, I get relating it to that, but it's just straight up demon Pazuzu makeup.
Hey, so let me tell you, I keep thinking about this. It keeps popping into my head for you. Like I see you with the Sven Gulli type show, your own show where you're playing freaking old shitty horror movie, old, you know what I mean? When I was a kid, before, around the same time as Sven Gulli, growing up in Tampa. Yeah. We had the original, this is where Paul Bearer came from. We had this guy, Dr. Paul Bearer, and he drove around in a hearse all over town, and he had the makeup, and he had this, he would have breaks in between the horror movies, and he, have his little segments, and it was like Sven Gulli. You know Sven Gulli, right?
Yeah. So
it was like that.
This is very inspired by Elvira and Conan O'Brien. Mix those two things together and add the demon makeup, and that's kind of what that is the whole Sven Gulli, Elvira, Crypt Keeper, Space Ghost. It's like a mix of all of that stuff.
I think Ring of Honor could afford Sven Gulli. I think that a Sven Gulli cameo with Danhausen, maybe pull PCO into that. I know you guys.
Sven Gulli would probably love to do it. I don't want to speak for him, but he'd probably do it for.
I'm here in Chicago. He comes when Mick Foley does his comedy show out in Rosemont.
He's a wrestling fan, right?
Yeah. I met him in the green room. He's a super cool guy. Yeah.
I've never met him, but people will tag and be like, "You need to do something with him," and I'm like, "I don't know him, so I don't want to just hey."
No, dude, I see you having your own show like that where you're hosting creature feature and all these,
That's the goal is to do something like that once I can't wrestle anymore.
Oh, that's good, man. I
try to have a backup, because you can't wrestle forever. So I want to have this character that I can just continue doing if I, God forbid, if I get injured and I can't wrestle anymore, just eventually.
Hey, so once you started donning the makeup and developing the character, how did that affect your in-ring style and what you do in the ring?
So I still was under with the evil character, full on evil Danhausen. I was still trying to wrestle hard. I was trying to go hard and just wrestle still. This just kind of gave me an opportunity to, I don't want to say not have to wrestle, because I was still very much trying to go, well, can we still do this and this and this? And people are like, we don't have to. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I always kind of think of Gangrel is this way when he's at a show still. He's like, I don't want to, peel back the curtain too much, but he always wants to go super hard. And I'm like,
yeah, he does.
You don't have to. I'm like, you could just come out and spit blood and people will love it. And he's like, oh no. He's like, I want to do it all. I'm like, he's great. He's got a great attitude about that. But yeah, it's definitely easier on the body. with this character because I can just get away with like just doing goofy stuff, but I also try to still work hard. Like I want to show people that I can still go as this character while doing this character. I don't want it to, me to get lazy. I don't want to get lazy and just be like, cool, I'll come out and I'll do this and this and this and this. Yeah. Be done. I don't want to phone it in. But that's the thing. Like I can pick and choose these spots that the crowd like, if I know they're going to love it, I'll do it because we're here to entertain the crowd.
Well, so have you ever heard the expression or just the saying that it's the shit you do in between the moves that's the real magic?
Yes. Yeah. And
so you could still do all the cool shit you want to do, man. It's just all the in between stuff is where you add your Danhausen.
Yes, which I don't like. I guess very good at doing that, the Danhausen stuff, where people are like, what do you want to do at the beginning of the show? And I'm like, you do your stuff. That's fine. I will just react to it and play with the crowd and play with you. And I was like, I don't have to do anything for the beginning, like of a match. Like it's just me being Danhausen is my shine. And that's it. Maybe I'll do something like something small at the end of it, but like, I don't need to do a run spot with you and do this and that. And like, it's not necessary. Other people are going to do that on the show. Let's make this match different.
So you haven't eventually I got things down to where I had like my 4 or 5 signature things and like I could build my match around that. What are your signature things that you build your match around right now?
So I do have those now and I'm learning how to place those better. I learned from like where I started kind of getting more popular in 2019. I started to get the Danhausen match down. I have the teeth. I have the tequila spot. I have the slingshot German spot, like my and all that. And then just the beginning is just, again, me trying to figure out how to be goofy and trick you into falling out of the ring so then I can do the dance because it hypnotizes the crowd.
Gotcha.
Sing along with me. And then they empower me because I gain a bunch of energy from that. And, but yeah, so I would say though, now it's a trick with Ring of Honor, figuring out how to integrate that stuff in a less silly way and a more realistic way.
Yeah. And that's fine. But like everyone else is doing that. Oh, I'm a serious wrestler, man. Like there's a million people doing that shit.
Yes. So I'm trying to evolve it a little bit so that way it still fits their product while still being true to what I'm doing. I try to never compromise that.
And I love recently, speaking of the characters, man, you've been bringing the Generico mask back. And dude, I think that is so cool, man. That like I know that like you and Sammy work together on some pro wrestling T stuff, but I think it's so cool, man, that you have the cachet to be able to pull something off like that right now and be that.
Yeah. So that was thanks also to Austin Creed, Xavier Woods. He set that up last. So that's how I got that shirt. I always try to credit him. He's so cool. He's so helpful. But yeah, I like to just, if I can have fun with it, because I know the crowd's going to like that. Like if I do something like that in front of a live crowd, then, let's do it. Let's have fun with it.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised to see you doing it when the no fans, like on the ROH TV stuff.
Oh, well, because here's the thing. People, if I don't have fans, I still have to make the most of it. So if my spot in the Battle Royal is come in and get tossed out, I want to be the most talked about spot in that Battle Royal.
How excited are you to get the Ring of Honor product in front of fans at the moment?
I'm very excited because it's wrestling in front of no fans is very hard. It makes me think of training where it hurts way more. You get winded way quicker. I don't know if it's just because we have masks on when we're calling our matches and all that too. And it's just, I feel like I get blown up so much faster right now. Also just not wrestling every weekend. It just takes a toll. Like my body feels worse during the pandemic. It didn't feel like it healed. It feels like it's worse.
Oh yeah. That's what that happens. Yeah. Well, that's just not working as much
anymore.
Yeah. But part of that's just not working as much too. Like, a lot of people are saying the same thing. Like, oh, my body hurts now. Like, cause especially like guys at the Performance Center or whatever, like they weren't getting as many matches in or reps or whatever. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah. So I'm very excited because I feed off of the Danhausen, especially feeds off of that crowd. Like it's a lot of crowd interaction. So what I've done is just adapted it to switch it. And I kind of interact with whoever's at ringside, whether it be the camera guys or I'll yell at Ian Riccaboni and Caprice from the ring. I kind of just do whatever I want. Like, not in a bad way, like I don't compromise anything, but like that's what's going to get talked about. And that's what the character is. It's kind of breaking the fourth wall and doing whatever he wants.
Yeah. Hey, so I was watching a little bit of, it was a clip of a match you had with Orange Cassidy, and I was enjoying like the you guys playing off each other back and forth, and just like usually it's just one guy has that type of a gimmick, and two guys in the match together.
Yeah, that was right. That was literally the last match I had before everything shut down.
Oh, was it?
So it was cool because I was like, how has no one booked this match yet? Because it was there. He was allowed to do shows still. I don't know if he is now, but like, and I was like, how has no one booked this? This is a match that people want to see, whether, and then Eric Cannon had booked it for first, and he did it I think the perfect way. He didn't have us wrestle a full match. He's like, you guys are going to start wrestling so you can do all of your fun stuff at the beginning, and then you're going to get beat up, and then you guys are going to tag. And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah, is that what it turned into?
Yeah, so like it's funny 'cause I wrestled. I was like, well, it'll be funny later on. I'm gonna wear because he wears the jeans, so I just wore black jeans during the match with him. So then when we were tagging, I had tag gear.
Hey, so they had they advertised you guys in a match, right? So you guys had a little bit of a match just so you give them what they advertised. We did about
3 minutes of like, we did a whole, our shtick at the beginning. He did his pockets where he did his whole diving over me in the pockets and the give up. So we did everything. He did the kicks. And then as we were getting going, that's when we got beat up. So we teamed up.
And like, you're part of this class of real characters. I know I've talked to you about this before, but I mean, you, Orange, Warhorse, Effie, Dan the Dad, Alley Cat. I mean, you guys have like a crew, right? Of you guys all came up.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that more wrestlers aren't trying to figure out characters? Because like earlier we were talking about how everybody just wants to be a tattooed bad guy. There's not enough characters right now in the business. Does it surprise you more people aren't kind of going the route that you guys are going?
Yes and no. I do notice that there are a lot more that are just kind of coming out now. I don't know. I don't want to say they're like following the formula of what we've been doing, but I think they're following the formula of what we've been doing, which isn't a bad thing. Right. As long as they're trying to twist it and make it their own. Like I've, based my stuff off of other people's things, but I try to twist it and make it my own. So it's not just stealing. But I've noticed that, but also I think there's a fine line of everything I do in this. I don't know if most people realize this when they first see me, but everything I do, I try to make sense. Nothing I do is actually unrealistic, even though it might have the appearance that it is. Like I have a reasoning for every single thing. Like the dance, like I said, it's me hypnotizing the crowd. I watched it in a movie. Pee Wee Herman, he beat up someone at a bar. That's why I do that move, is because I was doing a bar show with PB Smooth, who's like 6'8".
Oh, nice.
And he was like, I got there and I was like, well, I guess I'll ask the bar if I can dance on their bar and kick him in the face because he's got the height advantage. We don't have ropes. We don't have anything. What
I
am
was
I going
to say? Was it one of those shows with no ring?
Yeah, but it was not a deathmatch show. So I was just like, oh, barroom brawl. I was like, this will be fun. It'll be a challenge too. Which I was like, I'll step out of my comfort zone and figure out how I can integrate this character into a whole new environment. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll do the Pee Wee Herman dance and just beat the shit out of me the rest of the match. I don't care. And he's like, that's it? And I was like, yeah, why? What am I going to do? Like, just beat me up. It's fine. I'll sell for you. You look great. And he's like, okay. And then that's what caught on. And then people like it. So now I'm just doing it. But again, like that, it made me money. So that's the thing. Danhausen loves money. Money is the root of all evil. Danhausen's evil. Like they all kind of go into the same things. But I do the dance. The crowd gets hyped up. I hypnotize them. You get power from it or whatever because you get.
Obviously.
Yeah, it hypes you up. So then I use that power to beat up my, kick him in the face, toss him in the ring, and then I do my taunt. But yeah, the no
pretty simple concept actually.
I think so, but it's a silly thing because I'm dancing. but it throws them off because they think I'm a goof, and then I can hit them with an actual move when I get in the ring because I'm tricking them and thinking I'm just some goofy guy can't do anything.
I love all the thought that goes into this.
Well,
We believe it because you believe it. That's what's
yes.
so about you.
So there's motivation behind everything. The no swearing thing is from one. It's just from indie shows where there'll be a paper in the back that says no swearing if you cut a promo, and then every single night there's 5 people out there just swearing during their promos, and I'm like, this sucks. This isn't creative. Go say something else. So that's where that came from, and also just listening to like talk radio in the morning. If someone calls in and swears, they get cut off and they get taken off the air right away. So I'm like, oh, well, that would affect my money because then I'm not on TV. Then I'm not making money. So if my opponent swears, I get pissed at them and then I have to beat them up to stop them from swearing. And then the teeth is just some weird loophole that I think of where I'm like, oh, well, I can't get disqualified for doing this. And it grosses the opponent out and disorients them. Because it's just teeth. It's not thumbtacks. It's not anything else.
Yeah, I don't know that Sean knows the full extent of
okay.
I know he knows the jar of teeth, but I don't know that he knows the extent.
You
These
feed
are like
them the teeth or something?
I pour them in their mouth kind of like thumbtacks, and then I kick them in the face. But
they're real teeth. That's the thing I want to make clear here, right? They're like actual teeth that you have bought at oddity shops, right?
Yeah. So
that's so gross.
So the theory behind it is you already have teeth in your mouth. I'm just putting more of something you already have into your mouth.
Okay.
It's gross. I think teeth are disgusting because when I worked at the hospital, anytime you'd have to do something with someone's mouth, I thought it was gross and it made me nauseous. So I was like, well, it's a legal way of kind of cheating.
Yeah, man, but where are you getting all these teeth, man? I know you say you're buying them at oddity shops or whatever, but like if you're doing that every night, like what do? Have someone go fucking sweep the teeth up off of the canvas after your match and give them back to you?
No. So I'm going into it too much. I have a tooth guy.
Okay.
They're cleaned, they're boiled, they're sterilized, and I don't reuse them.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't reuse them. I don't do anything that's actually, well, it's gross, but like I don't do anything actually like gross. Like I don't let them go into someone's mouth and then scoop them up off the dirty mat and floor and then put them in someone, you know what I mean?
Can you tell us more about the tooth guy? Like I'm kind of interested in who has all of these teeth, or do you not want to give the secret away?
It's a secret for off the air, maybe.
Yeah, trade secrets, man. Like some shit you got to keep close to the vest.
I will say this. I'm not really one to talk. Behind me, I keep this. This is a skull cap that I have on my desk.
See, there you go.
And this thing's creepy as hell because you can see there's a newspaper bit that got stuck to it, and
good.
It won't come off. So it's hot.
So have you ever run into like guys not wanting to work with you or like any issues like that?
So I've had like when I first started doing the makeup, there was some guys who were like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Whether it be they don't want to get makeup on their gear, but like also I buy like high quality theater makeup, so it doesn't come off too often unless someone's like, rubbing my face in a headlock or something on purpose. But yeah, then there's just people like, I don't really want to do goofy things like that. I'm like, fine. I was like, I'm still going to do my character though, and we can work around it. I'm perfectly fine with doing that. But yeah, it doesn't happen so much anymore. I think people do want to work with me now more because they see that it works. Like there's no
people are making noise, man. I'm gonna compare it, and it's not the greatest comparison, but when I first started doing the Bronco Buster, no one wanted to take that shit. I'm Mick Foley, Rick Steiner rolled over on his stomach on the bottom turnbuckle one time, so you don't want to take it. Then like people started going crazy for it, it started getting big pops. Next thing you know, oh, hey man, hit me with the Bronco Busters. The same guys that would never take it before.
I think of that in the same way as the tequila spot. It's just me dancing to the beat, and you just get kicked in the face. I'm like, it's the easiest thing. The crowd loves it. It gets a huge reaction, and neither of us get hurt off of it. So And, like, I don't know, if you don't want to take it, that's fine. We can do some real things where maybe one of us will get hurt on accident. But
no, and then the crowd just sitting on their hand. Like,
I'm like, or we could let me look like an idiot and dance on the ring, and they'll love it. Yeah. So it's up to you. Like,
Nick.
I'm glad that you brought up the Bronco Buster comparison, because I didn't know exactly how to mention it, but like I see the similarities and kind of, we're gonna throw anyway. Sorry, go ahead, Dan. I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was gonna say that's a great comparison of like it's such like it's you don't have to take anything. I don't
You just have to allow yourself to feel a little uncomfortable for a moment, and then we're all
going to but we're wrestling. Like the whole thing is uncomfortable. Like
it's not like balls don't get thrown in your face like 20 times during a match anyway.
No, when you take a tombstone, you don't complain about it.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Hey man, what's going on with CM Punk? You trying to get him to come to ROH?
So he's the reason that I had started rewatching wrestling as like an adult, because I'd stopped, I would say like early 2000s. Just, I don't know, I was getting older, and I think it was one of those things like, well, this isn't cool anymore. I can't watch this. Because I don't know, because we're, you're teenagers.
I wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And so what was it? I think around 2013 or 2012, he was on commentary because he was injured. And I was like, this whole show is kind of interesting and entertaining to me, because he's doing commentary during the whole show, and he's kind of keeping me hooked no matter who's on, because he's funny and he's being sarcastic with things and just kind of drawing me in. So and then I was like, that's around the time that I found out there was a wrestling school, which is the House of Truth, right by my house. So it's kind of just all in the same area of why I started watching wrestling again, why I went to wrestling school. But yeah, he's just a guy he likes the same music as me. Like hardcore punk is what I grew up on. He likes horror movies. He likes comic books. Yeah. That's the guy I got drawn to when I was like, oh, this guy's kind of like me. I'm going to start watching wrestling again. It's kind of like watching a guy I can relate to, like actually now, like, so that's where that comes from. And then just, I don't know. I just think it's fun to try to get slammies from him, or like,
sure.
Yeah, put out uses. I like to go to sleep. I think it's a cool move. Most people can take it. No one's using it at Ring of Honor, and I was like, cool, I'll start using it. And then I just tweeted it at him because it was on a pay-per-view, and he was like, cool, it's yours. I was like, sweet.
Dude, you're playing this game so perfectly, man. Like, channeling the spirits of all the Ring of Honor legends like into one person is just really, I mean, dude, you're playing.
So that's the thing. Like, it's not like I don't like him and then I'm just tweeting at him to try to get his attention. Like, I genuinely like him. I enjoyed like all of his work. So like, yeah, like I like him. I would love to do something with him. Not necessarily wrestling, but like a Danhausen skit with Punk. I think that would be fun. I think people would laugh and enjoy that. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Something like that. I want to have fun with people that I enjoy and that I'm fans of, like the El Generico stuff. Like I like Sami Zayn. I like working with Sami Zayn on, doing a charity shirt. Like I'm going to promote people that I like.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, this has been awesome. We have one more thing we're going to do here with you, Danhausen. We're going to keep you around for a second. We're going to record this watch along of your New South Pro Wrestling match against Mike Bennett. Cool. This exclusive watch along for our patrons. So, Sean, if it's cool with you, I don't want to end it. If you have one thing you really want to ask Danhausen, is there anything else you really want to get out now before we flip over?
I'm not so much, man. Like there was one. If there was one more thing I was going to ask you, it was kind of that generic. Like what do you want to do moving forward? Like, are there?
I can answer that. I mean? Fine. Yeah. So like I kind of said it earlier, it's just like, well, I want to be on more TV. That's like one of the main things is like, I want to be on TV every week. I don't want to be on TV every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, every other week. I want every single week. I want to be featured on TV. So I'm trying to build towards that. I try to create a character that can fit with anybody. And that's why I keep the realism in the character too, is that stick me with anybody and I'll make it work. And I think I can make it entertaining. And yeah, I would like to be more, which I'm working on, is to become more mainstream, because I think we need more mainstream fans. I always say wrestling fans will always go to a wrestling show. We need to bring their friends who don't like wrestling to the wrestling shows. Because then there's more audience, there's more tickets being sold, everyone makes more money. and then there's more eyes on the product. So that's why the Conan thing was great, because it was like huge. Like that's the biggest I would have done like at the time. Like, and I want to do more. I was like, oh, that's not good enough. Get me on the show. I want to go on the show now. Like, right. I want to do stuff like that. Like, I am on a comic cover coming out in July for Image Comics for my friend Steve Orlando's book Commanders in Crisis. Like, that's another thing. It's going to be in a comic stores all over the place. Like,
oh, that's great, man. And you're a hot topic. I mean,
as a hot topic, like I'm trying to get retail stuff, and I'm trying to work on stuff like that. That's going to be huge potentially for other independent wrestlers.
Hey, is there someone that's managing you, or like do you have some representation you helping out with all this?
No,
you got to get some, man.
Yeah, I have. So it's being friends with people and being genuinely nice to them, and just them being like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great."
I'm talking about at least for the outside of wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah, I definitely need to work on that. But this is all still very new.
Hey, now that Sean and you are so familiar, or more familiar with one another, maybe Sean, you have a reference of somebody you want to put him in touch with? I don't know.
I could, yeah. Actually, I know a couple of people.
You're Hollywood famous, whatever. Put it out there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the retrospective segment of the show. A lot of y'all's favorite segment, and it's one I look forward to doing every week. Joining us right now, I'm really happy to have him on the show, man. Chris Van Vliet. What's up, Chris?
Oh, man, I'm honored to be on here. Sean, thank you so much. This is great, and I love listening to your show, but this is my favorite part of the show because it's like a look back at everything you've done in your amazing career. I mean, look, 2-time Hall of Famer. I mean, come on.
Yeah, man.
Up there,
the rings right here.
I
put them on. I put these there. Like I keep these in my bathroom. I put them on just for the show and I take them off right after.
You got to get another arm for when you get inducted for the 3rd time.
Yeah. I'm not looking. Please, like, let's not talk about that. I don't want to do that. I do not want to be up there all by myself on stage thanking everyone.
Well, it's bound to happen. And, it's inevitable one day. But, I love this. So thank you so much for having me on. And it was tough, right? You've done so much in your illustrious career. And it was tough to narrow down to just one thing. But if it's okay with you, I want to talk about, I'm really curious about the partnership that you had with Kane and X-Pac. And I guess I want to start by saying, like, whose idea was this to put you guys together? Because what you did was magic.
I just don't know. I don't know, Chris. I'm not sure who it was, but I'm really grateful that we did it. Like I was saying, this, like, ladies and gentlemen, this is take 2 of this, by the way. I screwed up earlier, so like we had to redo this
of how this all works.
Yeah, but it was like the best. It was one of the greatest things I've ever done in my career. It's
sure.
Kane is my favorite partner. Like I say it all the time. I had a lot of great partners, but because like the dynamic and the whole storyline, just like in the way we played off each other, man, it was really cool. And were you gonna say something?
Well, I was just gonna say the great thing about that tag team was you really humanized Kane, because up until that point, Kane was the big red machine. Kane was this monster, and you made him like really likable.
Yeah. Hey, so I was like, let's rewind a little bit because it kind of starts with, I had the match with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, and like leading up to that, it was decided that Triple H was going to turn heel. So that like, I was supposed to go over on Shane. I was supposed to win that match. But like with the whole, like with Triple H turning and that, like his turn wouldn't have meant shit, or like maybe it wouldn't have meant it would have meant something, but it wouldn't have meant nearly as much if he didn't turn on me.
Sure.
If he didn't come out and screw me over. So like that was actually my call, because they didn't ask me to, to do the job. Like Vince had promised, okay, yeah, you're gonna win this match, whatever. But it was just the right thing to do. And so like I bit the bullet on that, and it didn't hurt me, like especially the way we did it, like the finish, and but anyways, that all being said, this was like a reward for me. I think, like, no one actually said it, but like this was a reward for me. for being, team player and, helping out with that with Hunter. And that's the way I saw it anyways.
Sure. Yeah. Kane says that you're his favorite tag team partner as well, which that's saying a lot, when he was part of the Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah. So, but like behind the scenes, a lot of that is how I was with them behind the scenes. It's if there was any suggestion of anything that made Kane look weak, or that was something that there's no way the monster Kane would ever do. I was ready to fight. I was ready to dip my hands, wrap them and dip them in tar and dip them in glass and go to bat. You weren't going to Kane. No, Kane's not doing that. I mean, it was a pain in the ass for them because I was very protective of Kane during that time.
Was there ever talk about you guys getting your own entrance theme? Because I always thought, so when you guys were together, I was 15 or 16 at the time.
Yeah.
And huge fan of entrance themes at the time, still huge fan of entrance themes now. But it was interesting how it mixed his theme with the DX theme. Was there ever talk about giving you guys your own theme?
I don't think so. I mean, I think once we got to that point where we had that kind of that mashup.
Yeah.
Where it played a little bit of DX and then boom, I think everyone was pretty happy with that. Yeah. I mean, there was even a lot of people, even today, I'll see on Twitter, oh, we really wanted the Kane with the green costume. And it was it was never really even considered, we never actually really considered that because I don't think that would have been okay for Kane. You know?
I think one of the best matches that you guys had was at Over the Edge, which unfortunately was overshadowed by, Owen's passing. But, do you wish that more people would look at that match and go, oh man, what great work they did?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm very proud of that. And that was a hell of a way to open a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And those guys were great to work with. I talk about it a lot. Man. And D'Lo, obviously, because I worked with D, in a bunch of singles matches for the European title. But those guys as a tag team were so great to work with. And I just love Mark Henry to death, man. It was so easy to work with him in there. I knew how to work with Mark Henry, and I just love working with that guy. But yeah, I love that. And, just even the whole leading up to us actually winning the titles from Jeff Jarrett and Owen.
Yeah.
We'd be in there and then all of a sudden Kane would just flip out and grab me and choke slam me. You remember all that?
Yeah.
Up? And so do you remember when we won the titles, during the finish after everything's going on and down goes Jeff, down goes Owen, and Kane, he grabs me again by the throat, and everyone thought he was going to choke slam me again. But instead, he picked me up and he threw me on top. I think it was Jeff. I can't remember which one it was for the 1, 2, 3. And it was I remember Steve Austin coming up to me afterwards and going, man, I love that finish. That was such a feel-good finish, man. And it was great. People didn't see it coming.
You were like wrestling's odd couple.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was
and
perfect.
I think it was also a precursor to what Kane did many years later with Daniel Bryan.
Oh, sure.
And
I mean, the recipe worked. And when you add Daniel Bryan to the mix, I mean, how can you go wrong, right?
Right. But I think that if they hadn't seen the massive success that you guys had together, I think maybe they would have been hesitant to put Daniel Bryan with Kane.
Sure. Also, there's that era of what I call bookend tag teams. I'm not the only one that uses that term, but it's not widely used. It just refers to even the Road Warriors were a bookend tag team, or the Fabulous Ones, or they had the same costumes and and it was just I was always a fan of the guys the teams that weren't bookend teams. Odd couples like Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch, or to go back a ways, things like that. So I always loved that.
There were a lot of things during your tag team that ended up becoming historic in wrestling. And I think one of the biggest things was Kane spoke for the first time without the voice modulator, all because of you. So walk me through how, like, what voice he was going to use, how he was going to say it, because it's so memorable. Suck at the way that he said it.
Yeah. It was so weird because, well, first of all, we had just won the tag titles from the Acolyte, from the APA. Yeah. And we love working with those guys, man. The match, because obviously those guys bring it, and obviously we have Kane, and I always felt like I brought it too, man. Like, and I could take it. So we loved working with those guys. But anyways, we had the match, we won the titles, and there's not a better place to win the tag team titles anywhere in the world, like better than the Allstate Arena in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like everyone will tell you, like, well, not everyone, but so many people will tell you that's their favorite venue. It's just the place goes nuts, man. And it always has. So it was just, I don't remember like us talking about it, or I don't even remember all that going into it. I just remember being out there and I don't even, like, we didn't have anything scripted. Like, I didn't even know what I was going to say. It was just like, yeah, get him to talk. Like, that's how it was at the time. You
didn't know he was going to say suck it?
No, I knew he was going to say that, but like, I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't know, like I didn't know what I was going to say until I grabbed the mic.
Wow.
Like, I knew it was like, yeah, let's get him to say that. But like, there wasn't specific lines like they have now.
Huh. You also
could tell, obviously you could tell by the way I said it, You
also shot Kane with a flamethrower. And I don't know if you've talked about this, but like, how does that all work so that he doesn't get injured?
Well, so actually he shot me with fire first. I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
Like, I had that
fireball
match with Undertaker, and he came out during the match and like went to shoot Taker and shot me instead or whatever.
Yep.
So like, obviously, so I was just paying him back, Chris.
But like, he shot you with a fireball. You shot him with like a legitimate, like, Elon Musk flamethrower.
Yes. And I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the story behind that?
No, I need to hear this.
So that was take 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm all about like telling everyone like, well, we had to do take 2. But, so the first time I went out there, we go to do the same exact thing. I push the button and the battery's dead on the flamethrower. So it doesn't work. So I push it over and over again. And finally we're all looking at each other and like, it was this big awkward moment, right? And then all of a sudden I just ran back and, we figured things out. And I don't know, it must've been like half an hour later. We figured out how to get that back in there. And the people bought it. When we did it again, the people bought it.
So this had to be done on SmackDown because SmackDown at the time was
taped.
If this had happened on Raw, it just would have been a bust.
Oh, Jesus. Like that stuff never happens live. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like if anything's going to go wrong, it always goes wrong on the tape show usually.
Well, that's the best place for it to go wrong.
Oh, thank God. But,
so how did you make sure that he didn't actually get hurt with this? Was he standing a certain distance away?
Well, I mean, he was far away, but also, and even like one time he had his hand on fire and all that. There was this gel that you could use. Like, I hope I'm not like ruining it for everyone by giving away the trade secrets, but like he was just covered his hair in this flame retardant gel, and he had it on his, on his costume, on his top and everything, and so it warmed him up a bit, but he didn't catch on fire.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah. And it's crazy, right? Like, can you imagine doing shit like that nowadays, Chris?
I can't imagine doing shit like that at any point in time.
Yeah, like, because when he shot me with the fireball, like that burned my damn eye. Like my eye was burnt, like all this area around here.
No
like,
way.
It really was. Oh yeah. And I remember one time China, like they did something where she got somewhat fire on her, and like it actually burned her a little bit. Like we used to just say, fuck it. Yeah.
That sounds really scary to me.
Yeah.
So
imagine doing that on a movie set.
On a movie set, you just put the stunt guy in.
Yeah.
With the run that you guys had, what was your reaction when they told you that they wanted to split you guys up?
That was time. Yeah, it was time. And it worked. Chris, that Christmas story, X-Pac Christmas story thing we did in ring with, where I had him down. I think we handcuffed him or something in the turnbuckle or in the corner and made him watch me make out with his girlfriend. People are pissed, man. People are still mad about that, Chris. To this day. Yeah. And they knew it was a work and they were still mad.
Well, I mean, Kane and Tori was something that nobody expected to see. And then when they were like, this kind of works.
And they were really, I think a lot of people were really emotionally invested in our relationship and his and my relationship.
I just wanted to jump in on a personal note and say, I remember the Tori segment and you handcuffing him.
Yeah.
And I was really upset. I was very upset about that. So anyway, I'm going to go back away now, but I just wanted to jump in.
See, but this is exactly what you were talking about. People were emotionally invested in that.
Exactly.
And I mean, you became a really big baby face when you were with Kane. That instantly makes you a heel.
Oh, there was never, yeah, man, people fucking hated my guts, Chris. I mean, I mean, I'm not even talking about X-Pac heat. I'm just talking about like legit heel freaking heat, man. Like, I mean, people were pissed.
Now that if you know, since you're bringing up X-Pac heat, when does it go from X-Pac heat to heat?
I don't know, like somewhere down the road away still. You know, like, I mean, I don't even know. I'm not doubt, like, it was a thing. You know, I guess I overstayed my welcome at one point, but that's a whole nother.
I don't know. That's also could just be the way you were booked, though, too.
Well, that too, but like, it's just a different conversation. I didn't even mean to bring it up, but just to say the heat was really hot.
Yeah,
it was white hot. But man, it's very challenging. Chris is you know, to be the heel in the match in a grudge match like that versus a 7 foot tall monster that keeps sitting up from everything.
Right.
You know, and like, so that was really challenging, figuring out different ways to be able to, like, you know, to get heat on them, you know, in the matches. And, you know, I will say this, because we were like, this topic is supposed to be about our tag team, but like, it's hard not to talk about me turning on them.
Sure. Yeah.
And everything that went on. And so I will say this, we drug that on too long. Like we try to get too much probably at least one or two more pay-per-views more than we probably should. It didn't have as long a legs as kind of I had hoped.
Did you know that in the time, or is that only in hindsight?
I think my personal bias and my love for working with Glenn, and like, there were some ideas I had, I think might have gotten in the way. Yeah. Because honestly, like, we ended up in a tag team at WrestleMania, like me and Road Dogg against Rikishi and Kane. And like my whole idea was having this exploding bomb match with Kane because of the whole fire theme. And like they tried to test out like some explosives on TV, and they just weren't into it. They weren't going to do it, but they wanted to at least like pacify me and make me feel like, oh, we're at least trying it, you know? So their idea was to have me work with Chris Jericho for the IC title. And I'm like, no, I want to finish my thing with Kane, you know? So like, I should have had the match with Chris.
Hindsight 2020.
Yeah. But then, you know, like, so even after that feud was over, like in dead and buried, like when we came back and did the NWO 2002.
Yeah.
And I came back, like when I got in the ring with him, man, people were still dying to see him kill me. And like, I ended up taking his mask. Like he tore his bicep, right? And like, so we did a storyline thing to get him out of the picture for a while, and I ended up taking his mask off, and I would wear his mask on TV, you know, but nothing ever came of it. Anyway.
Right. If there's somebody that's watching this that, you know, is younger, or maybe someone wants to go back and go down memory lane on the WWE network, what Kane and X-Pac match should they watch right after watching this interview?
I'm a fan of the cage match. There was some moments in the cage. I'm overly critical of my matches, so like, you know,
so you go back and watch your matches.
I have watched a lot of them several times. Yeah.
So cage match, where and when should they go find this?
Oh shit. It's the only cage match I had.
Nick can figure this out for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And it was with who?
It was with Kane, me and Kane.
Oh, you and Kane. Okay. Well, what about the tag team of Kane and X-Pac?
Oh,
yeah.
So there's a few, and like, obviously the one we just talked about, the one that you brought up with Mark Henry and D'Lo.
Yeah. Over the head. Yeah.
That's my favorite tag match that we had. There was a neat little TV match we had with the Hardys, and it was just cool. It was a cool little match. It was nothing special, but it was a neat little match, and we beat them. But they weren't as they were still kind of on their way up at the time, so it wasn't as competitive or as long as one might think. But it was a good, fun match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I said this at the start, but it's amazing when you look at your career and everybody you've worked with and everything that you've done. Like, I hope that you're self-aware enough to be able to go, damn, what a run.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I these days, like, I'm able to reflect a lot more and think about things like that. And especially when people like yourself, come on and, bring me back down memory lane.
And talking to memory lane real quick, I popped back in here at the end just real quickly. I Googled the cage match was Armageddon 1999.
There we go.
Check that out. So
thank you.
And there's other matches like I think with Dudley's and guys like that. And there was just too many to name actually, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, with that era, everyone talks about the talent, at the top in that era, Triple H and Undertaker and Stone Cold and The Rock and Jericho, but that was the best era for tag teams as well.
That was good. That was just me personally. It was just the best era. Period. I mean, for me personally,
I agree. It's hard to disagree that the Attitude Era was, the best era in wrestling, especially with the fact that there was the Monday Night Wars, especially with the fact that if you didn't watch it live on Monday night and you didn't tape it on VHS, you missed it.
Right.
Yeah. This has been an honor. This has been so much fun.
Well, thank you, man. Like I said, not to blow smoke up your ass, but I appreciate having you on, man, because like I said, you have a huge following and it helps me a lot. And so thank you for coming on.
I appreciate you asking me to come on. And this is just a little teaser of the interview that we'll be doing, which will be coming out right after this episode. So I'm excited to chat with you about everything and just your life in general for, an hour plus on my show.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
This is going to be great. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Have a good one, man.
You too. Thank you.
Welcome back to the game show portion of Pro Wrestling for Life, everybody. It's me, your game show host here for today, Nick Hausman. And let me welcome to the show right now a man who has been competing against patrons from Pro Wrestling for Life's Patreon page, and of course, some notable names from the pro wrestling industry as well. Today, he's coming back to take on somebody else. It's the one, the only, the two-time WWE Hall of Famer, Sean X-Pac Waltman. Sean, welcome back to your show.
Hey, Nick. Hey, is that your Guy Smiley impression or?
I don't know. I just kind of thought I'd do a game show voice to make things fun here today.
Are you like, who the fuck's Guy Smiley?
I actually have no idea who you are.
I used to do from Sesame Street.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm kind of a character. I'm like a Muppet, so sure.
What's up, man? Hey, what are we playing today, Nick?
You got to wait, Sean. I'm not going to tell you what we're playing today because your opponent here ties into the game. Your opponent here today, coming to us all the way from such great shows as Effie's Great Big Brunch or Big Gay Brunch. It's the one, the only, Paul Pratt, a.k.a. Pollo Del Mar. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Nick. Sean, amazing. Thank you for having me on.
What's up, man?
Not much.
Hey, I was expecting to see, like, I didn't know what to expect appearance-wise. Let me just put it that way.
Right. Well,
because Nick was trying to surprise me, but I saw your tweet. I saw your tweets last night, bro. So you ruined the surprise.
Oh well, man, I should have. If I'd have known. If I'd have known you wanted that, I'd have. Nick and I were busy.
No, good. No, I'm
Nick
happy
and I
to
were
have
busy
you on.
doing Wrestling Inc. Daily this morning, so I could have finished up with that and then just raced over and put on some makeup for you.
Either's fine. This is what we look like. Okay.
This is what I look like.
Right on.
Under layers of makeup usually.
Sean, have you been to a lot of drag shows in your life or no?
I've been to a couple. Like in Minneapolis at the gay 90s, like it was a kind of a thing for a while. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. It's iconic.
Yeah. So it was huge. So like I have. It wasn't like a big like pastime of mine, but I'm definitely down.
I love that. Thank you. I've been to a lot of wrestling shows.
So you're not into wait a minute. I thought you were a wrestler too.
No, more of a wrestling personality at this point.
Personality. Okay. Yeah. I'd say a personality. Big on personality, not as much on wrestling. But I was just trying to make it equal there. You've been to a lot of what I do. I've been to a lot of what you do.
Right. Cool. What are we playing, Nicholas?
Well, that's a great question here, Sean Waltman. Let's get back to the game show. Today, we're going to be playing the first installment of Jobber or Drag Queen. So this week, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you a name of either a jobber or a drag queen. And you have to tell me, is that name a jobber or a drag queen? That's it. If you can tell the difference, you're going to get a point.
It seems like somebody has a distinct advantage at this.
I don't know. I mean, we're going to see how well.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we're going to see how well Paul knows jobbers and you know drag queens, or maybe I'll throw you guys. Maybe you guys won't know the difference in some of these cases.
Okay.
Right?
Out of curiosity, Sean, is his voice as off-putting for you as it is for me?
So bad.
Come on,
it's brutal, dude. It's like cringe.
Let's all go to the beach, guys.
Nails on the chalkboard.
Let's all bury Nick Hausman.
Jesus Christ! Come on, everybody. I'm going to have.
He's like the fucking voice of the DJ on Yacht Rock on Sirius. Oh boy, that was obscure.
That's actually true. That's actually true. Very true.
So you got that reference?
I actually listened to the Sirius Yacht Rock channel when I was in a rental car driving across Florida recently because I didn't know how to use the Sirius actual channel changer. So I just got stuck there. That's what I was listening to.
The guy talks like this, Yacht Rock. Like it's, oh my God. Anyways, enough.
Well, sorry. I don't sound anything like that guy. Anyway.
Not at all.
All right. Well, I guess I'll drop the voice because I'm pissing everybody off. So fuck me. All right.
I just don't want to chase away any viewers or listeners.
Oh, good. I'm really super glad that I'm taking this much heat for my fucking voice. All right. So we're going to get to the game here. I'm going to ask you jobber or drag queen. Now we're going to do a little contest here to see who goes first today. Today to decide who goes first. The first person that can make a paper airplane for me and throw it is going to go first. So go. Who's going to be able to make a paper airplane first? Sean. Sean has paper on his desk. We also have Paul. Paul has paper on his desk.
I don't have paper on my desk. This is some medical bill that I pay no attention to.
Oh, Paul ripping up his medical bills to make a paper airplane right now. Sean going to town. I feel bad, by the way, that Paul has ripped up medical bills for the sake of this game show. Sean really going in, not just throwing this thing together, trying to make something of wait. And Paul with the win. Paul with the win, and Sean, you took too long because yours was really well made. Yours was
well made. No, let me see the fucking plane, man. Okay, I count.
Yeah, it didn't have to look like a plane. It didn't have to be effective. It just had to fly just for that moment.
Suck that.
Can we see Sean? Can we see yours again, dude? That thing is fucking. That's really.
Mine actually flies, Paul.
Mine flew.
This is good. Well,
all right, you win.
Okay. So Paul's
I
gonna
feel in this moment like that is when the 1-2-3 kid got the win over Sean Hall. Got to be put over in that moment versus a superstar.
You called him Sean Hall, by the way.
I'm sorry, Scott Hall. Yes, Razor Ramon. Sorry, I was mixing them up there, like scissoring, like that.
All right, so you're gonna get to go first here, Paul. So the first name, Bobby Blaze.
Bobby Blaze. Jobber.
That
is a jobber. That is correct. That is 1 point there. Okay,
dude, I started with Bobby, dude, and honestly, man, I don't know how he would feel being referred to as a jobber because honestly, anyways.
Now here's
I'll be honest. Some of the names
he wasn't a jobber,
dude. When you name them as a drag queen. So
here's the thing, Sean. I don't want to take any heat for Cassius because I literally typed in list of jobbers. Okay, there is a Wikipedia page called Enhancement Talent Jobbers. And these are all names I took. So if you, and I knew you were going to have issues with some of this. If you know these people and you take issue, you can talk. You can.
I mean, he was one of my best friends. We started together. Like we were there. We were together every day, like of our lives when we first started wrestling.
But Sean, don't you feel like the term jobber anyway is pretty subjective? Because a lot of the people who we know as jobbers, for example, in WWE or then WWF, were major independent talents from somewhere across the country who got in, just for that on TV tryout and never got to reach that. Yeah.
Dude, when did this segment become the fucking History Channel is what I want to know. Like, it got real serious up in here all of a sudden. So
it's when you besmirch my longtime friend Bobby Smedley, aka Bobby Blaze.
Hey, everybody go take the DX tank to Wikipedia and get him to take Bobby Blaze off the page. Okay? So we're just going to, you know what? We're going to call it jobber or drag queen because I like the name. But we'll just maybe say for the rest of the game, pro wrestler or drag, because we want to be very considerate to all of the people that have done great work in the pro wrestling business. All right. So, all right, Sean, the next name here, Pork Chop Cash.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you, Pork Chop Cash, pro wrestler or drag queen?
Pro wrestler.
Pro wrestler. Okay, there we go. Do you want to tell us?
So was he fucking listed in the jobber?
Is he listed as a jobber too?
Yes, he's listed as a jobber.
Dude, what the fuck list is this?
Obviously, these people do not pay attention to Southern professional wrestling because Pork Chop Cash was a very skilled professional wrestler throughout the Southern regions.
Yes, he was. Well, I don't know about skilled, but he was over. Like, he was
successful.
God, I kind of low-key love what's going on here right now. Okay, all right, 1-1. This one's to you, Paul. Chi-Chi Divine.
Chi-Chi, it's actually Chi-Chi Devane.
Okay.
Chi-Chi Devane, drag queen.
Wait. Now, I played this game with Liz earlier because I was like, play this, tell me if this is fun or not. She said it was divine, so I'm putting the heat on Liz for that one. But go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Liz, you get a pass because you're from the San Francisco area. Okay. It's Devane.
Okay. It's Devane. Okay. Sorry. But you're right. It's a drag queen. That's right. 2-1 here. You guys are batting 1,000. All right. Back to you. Sean, the Duke of Dorchester.
Duh.
Okay. Yes.
The Duke of Dorchester, Pete Doherty's pro wrestler.
Okay.
Now that would be a jobber.
So that's
true.
Yes.
That's true.
Okay. That means
perennial.
Okay. Perennial jobber, the Duke of Dorchester. All right, back to you then, Paul. Danny LaRue.
Danny LaRue is a jobber.
That is wrong. That is a drag queen. And
really?
Yes, that is a drag queen. So you're wrong. So Sean is now
Paul, I have I just have I'm a little suspicious that you threw that question on purpose.
I don't know where this person's a drag queen at, but I've never heard of them.
But LaRue, come on.
To be honest, I probably will know more of the jobbers than I will the drag queens.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's 2 apiece now, and I feel bad. I wrote all these, and I know that obviously, Sean, you have an advantage here, right? But I feel like I'm trying to find people that would maybe throw you.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close right now. I mean,
okay. How about Hot Chocolate? Is that a jobber or a drag queen? Hot Chocolate.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's both.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's both also.
Well, there was only one listed on my list. I used both the Wikipedia list. So is it Hot Chocolate? And Hot Chocolate was not
Whose turn is it? Whose turn is it?
It's your turn. Is Hot Chocolate a jobber or a drag queen?
Oh, fuck. It's a drag queen.
You are right. That is right. That puts Scott up 3-2. Hot Chocolate's a drag queen. Back to you, Paul. Frenchie Martin.
Frenchie Martin, of course, that's a jobber.
Okay, that is 3-3. We're tied up again here. All right, Sean, back to you. What about Jiggly Caliente?
Drag queen.
That is a drag queen. Do you know Jiggly, by the way, Paul? Are you familiar with Jiggly?
Yes, absolutely. She calls me grandma because I'm old. Okay. But she's going to be, I'm very excited to see Miss Jiggly out in New York City on the upcoming RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars number 6.
Wow, there we go. Okay, and how about, so wait, Paul just got Paul just got Jiggly Kelly.
Right, 3-3.
We're tied 3-3. Back to you, Sean. How about Survival Tabita?
What?
Survival Tabita.
I get an echo.
I'm hearing some echo here right now as well. I don't know if that was a connection. It's gone now. Whatever.
Right.
Survival Tabita.
It doesn't sound like any pro wrestler I've ever heard of.
So
is it my turn?
It's your turn.
Yes.
Yes, it's your turn. Survival Tabita.
It's drag queen.
That is a jobber. Survival Tabita was a jobber. Paul, I don't know. You seem to be a historian here. Do you know anything about Survival?
I do not know this person.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm going to tell you, Sean, he calls me a historian because I'm just old.
That's not what I want. That's not what I meant.
But I will say that I do feel like I have a pretty good perspective on the history of wrestling. I don't know that person by name.
I've never, ever, and I've never heard of it.
I thought you were stuttering.
Okay, so I believe we're at, if I've got this right, 4-3 in favor of Paul. Am I right about that right now, or no? Is it still 3-3?
No, it sounds like that's correct.
I think it's 3-3, and it's my go.
Okay, how about Kimchi, jobber or drag queen?
It depends on, because this is a definite situation of both, because Kimchi was a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race and was the handler, if you will, for Kamala, who occasionally got put into the ring and became thusly both.
Holy shit, man, you nailed that. The answer was both. And you got it right. Yeah.
The spelling is very different, though.
It is different. Yeah, it was. But I saw both.
Steve Lombardi played Kimchi in many instances. So, I think that deserves to be a double point for me there, knowing all of the above.
So before that character was called Kimchi, they called it Friday.
Yeah. Yes. Friday was the original one. Yeah, I do. And I remember when they came in and he had Friday as his handler, and then it became Kimchi.
Yeah.
So that was around the time that Kamala had just been called up from Mid-South UWF. It was just before UWF happened, but just as Mid-South was started during the turnover.
I wonder if that was that before or after Akeem, the African Dream?
Long before. So in perspective, Sean, Kamala got called up to the main roster to be a foil, right? And so at that same time, the one-man gang was still competing in the UWF. Ultimately, the one-man gang defeated Terry Gordy for the UWF Heavyweight Championship, and then turned that over to Big Boss Man. But it was Bubba Rogers. But so one-man gang hadn't even come to the WWF at that time yet. So long before Akeem.
Yes, you are a historian.
Yeah, Paul's coming back. Paul is past. Your tryout match went really well, Paul. You're coming back.
Thanks.
Paul, are you a UWF fan?
So I grew up in the Houston area during the heyday of the Mid-South territory system. So I watched all of that firsthand, because in Texas we had the incredible UWF / Mid-South territory, world-class championship wrestling. We also got a lot of the broadcasts from Florida and Georgia. So I really loved that era specifically. That is, the UWF days were my absolute favorite professional wrestling promotion, aside from Lucha Underground.
Oh, wow. Right on. Yeah, that UWF TV was hot.
It was incredible.
Yeah, and you know what? Since you got, because we're going to give you the 2 points for Kimchi there, so that makes it 5-3. We've reached our time limit. You've lost, Sean. Paul has. But let's be fair here. This was a strong victory here by Paul. This was a very strong showing by Paul here today.
Very strong. And I'm like the jobber of this segment every week.
Yeah.
We're talking about jobbers. I get my ass beat every week on this fucking
thing. Regular Bobby Blake. All right,
it's funny because you mentioned Pork Chop Cash, and I was like waiting to see if you mentioned Pork Chop Cart. There's a wrestler, Victoria Parker, whose nickname was Pork Chop Parker. Damn. She was literally the jobber of RuPaul's Drag Race because she was the very first person ever eliminated from the show.
Oh, that's right. They had the pork chop round anyway on the last Drag Race season, or 2 seasons ago, I think.
So did she like the nickname Pork Chop?
She made it.
Oh shit! Usually people don't make their own nicknames. What the fuck?
She's a big girl from the South.
I have. If I do drag, my drag name is going to be Debutante. That's my drag name. So we'll see if that happens.
And based on that, you will be relegated to a life of jobbing in the world of drag.
Hey, I thought it was pretty good, but then again, I have no idea what I'm doing. All right, well, hey everybody, thanks so much. This has been a great game show here today. I'm sorry, I just had to get it in there.
Hey, Paul, thank you, man.
Where do you
appreciate you taking the time?
Where do you want
Thank you for having me on. This is an honor and a privilege. I mean, it already blows my mind that I spend every Thursday with Nick doing the Wrestling Inc. Daily podcast, and to get to join you is really mind blowing. I thank you so much for that.
Thank you, man. Look forward to you coming back on.
And
I would love it.
Where can people find you, Paul? Where do you want them to go support you? All those things.
Yeah. I've been having a lot of fun at twitch.tv/Pollo Del Mar. You can find me on Twitter at the Glamazon PDM, as in Pollo Del Mar. And if you are out and about in the Northern California area on June 20th, catch me at Wrestling for Rights, Full Queer. It is an LGBT plus wrestling show where we are showcasing our talent during Pride Month. And we're going to be crowning the first ever Prince X of Pride champion. It's a non-gender specific, non-promotion specific, non-weight class specific title. And it can be defended anywhere they allow LGBTQ plus representation. I'll be the mistress of ceremonies, not looking like this, but I hope that we'll catch some of you there.
Like 24/7 style, like just anywhere? Does it have to be in the ring?
I don't know if it's going to be 24/7, but I think that the intention of it really is to encourage a lot of the independent promotions out there to include LGBTQ plus representation, where we can take this championship anywhere and defend it, to showcase that while people get caught up in the trappings that people might be LGBTQ plus, right, at the heart of all of us in that industry, part of the industry, we are professional wrestling fans, and we are dedicated to the sport and entertainment of professional wrestling. And we have a championship now to show for it.
Hey, Paul, real quick, man, let me, how's the industry been like when it comes to LGBT stuff lately?
I can't really speak firsthand because I'm so on the fringe, but what I will say is that we've got incredible people out there like Effie, who is making a name for himself and making a space for so many of us. Effie's Big Gay Brunch has been incredible. And I think that it brings talent from across the country together and allows us to showcase collectively what we do independently in such smaller markets. But I would say in the bigger picture, I think that we're seeing a lot more inclusion at the national and international level, but I always think there's a lot more work to be done. I like the fact you got guys like Pero out there just running through motherfuckers, just badass motherfuckers, right? Right. And you know what is interesting is that Pero goes against that stereotype that we see so often of what it means to be LGBTQ plus. I think that the common person who might hear that terminology, a gay wrestler or whatever, might picture somebody like Sonny Kiss, which we see on AEW, where he's very effeminate, very gender fluid. And then that's what they want to stereotype everybody as. But at the other end of the spectrum, there is Pero, who is just a big hoss, and he's out there beating people's asses, and he happens to be gay. Just so happens, we see people at like top levels in NXT, like Mercedes Martinez, who they never make her sexuality part of who she is, but she's just a generalized badass who I would put her in the ring against anybody. And I would put my money on her. If it was all real, she's got my full backing, so there are people representing us as a community in the grandest of ways. And it's a beautiful thing to see, but I always want more, because I feel like too many places feel that as long as there's one, then they don't need any more. It's just like one thing and that's it. Yeah, it's just like back in the day that we got one black person on the card, the quota or whatever. We got the ladies. All the time. Yeah. Two women, because they're a good guy and a bad guy, baby face and a heel. One black baby face, one black heel. We've met our, but the reality that I saw at Big Gay Brunch on April 10th in Tampa is that the spectrum of types of competitors and levels of skill that we have within the LGBTQ community is so broad. We could literally fill an entire card, as we did that day, with very diverse characters, which could give people an entire viewing experience that would be so broad, right? But we're never given that opportunity. Hey, so is there like a separate fan base, like a niche fan base, or is there a lot of spillover from what, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. I think that I think that there might be some people who specifically support us because we're LGBTQ, but I think in reality, people who love professional wrestling and love the entertainment value of it, if they can put aside whatever their personal opinions about LGBTQ people are, they're going to see incredible professional wrestling talent who happen to be LGBTQ.
I know. Cool. I was just curious, man. You know,
I appreciate you asking.
Well, I had you on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So thanks again, man. I really appreciate it, Paul. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. All right, everyone. That's it for this week's show. Want to thank Chris Van Vliet. Want to thank Danhausen. Oh shit. Paul, what's Paul's?
Paul Pratt. Paul Pratt is the man behind Pollo Del Mar. Yes.
I was gonna say Pollo Del Mar, but it wasn't in fucking.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't kick yourself too hard, buddy. It's a little confusing. No, Alex.
So thank you, Paul Pratt. Thank you, Paul Pratt, for coming on the show and playing me on. I'm not even gonna tell you the name of the freaking game show that Nick brought up. Sorry.
Right. We're done. I'm done. We're done. We've exhausted everything. I did all the plugs at the top of the show. Thank you guys. Thank everybody for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys next week.
See you guys.
Bye.